Okay, in this video we're going to have a look at how to optimize a site and improve its performance. So we have this site here, got some nice GSEP animations, a few sections, and this section here which is just well and truly broken. So first step is that we go to the inspect, open up Lighthouse and click analyze. Now if you have a bunch of, what are these things called? Browser extensions. It might be beneficial to do this in an incognito tab. For me, I'm just going to do it in here to get the baseline, and you can see that we've got this 75 performance, 93 accessibility, 96 best practices, 91 SEO. So if you click on one of these things and you scroll down, it's going to tell you why. And for example, these images aren't optimized. It says serve them in the next gen format. So we can go over to Webflow and we can click on assets, just expand this panel. I'm just going to select all of the ones that are not an open graph image because open graph images need to be PNGs or I think WebPs, and I'm going to compress them. So yeah, just if you do select all, it won't work for if there's any SVGs selected, and if it converts the open graph to an avif file, it's probably not going to work when you go to share it. So just be very careful if you do the select all function. Some other things, we can go down and let's just quickly fix this blur. So this happens when you have a lot of elements on the page rendering that has a calculation with it. So you can see that this has blur. This also happens for SVGs that are set to cover position. But if I turn that blur off, it's going to scroll a bit nicer. So let's just publish this page now that we've got the images in next gen format, and go back to the Lighthouse score. So I'll cache refresh the page, Command Shift R on a Mac, and rerun the analyze. And let's have a look at the impact that that's made. There, so straight away a huge improvement on the site, and that's just from images. So let's take a look at what else that we can do. Minify CSS, minify JavaScript, we can do that here. Well, it actually is minified. Short text remains visible. A bunch of this stuff is kind of Webflow stuff. Like this is pulling in the CSS, but we do have this GSAP Cloudflare and CDN and Calendly external CSS widget. So let's jump over to the site settings and go to the custom code, and we're going to put defer here because we don't need these to run when the page loads. So just hit defer on all of them, and then I will republish the site. Let's just cache refresh the page again. And when you're at 98, it's pretty much in diminishing returns here. Like anything above 90 is pretty good performance. If it's green, users will be happy, Google will be happy. But this is just for the sake of going through it. See, it hasn't really made any impact apart that's gone down, I think, from 0.6 to 0.5. And it's removed these from here, except for the Calendly one for some reason. What else can we do? So I'll just pull that Lighthouse back up. And jump back into the designer as it's running. As you can see, it's just loading there. Now it's dropped back down to 88 for some reason. You might experience this where you have fluctuations in network speed that will affect the performance. So don't be too concerned if you have a 98 and it goes back down to 88. Like, just to show you, I'll refresh the page again, clear the Lighthouse, click Analyze. And it seems to be doing it a bit quicker this time. So we're back up to 98. So that was just a little error in the network, and it caused a huge performance hit. Accessibility. Links do not have a discernible name. So we have a few links here. And what this means is that there's an image element such as this one that does not have a name. So we need to give it a name. So come down to the custom attributes, click aria label, and we'll just give this navbar logo. I'll copy the aria label there. I'm going to go down to, get this weird bug with Webflow sometimes. The nav links, and again, aria label, Twitter. I do like to open these in a new tab. Just while I'm here, I thought I'd mention that. LinkedIn. And then YouTube. And then let's hit publish. So we cache refresh the page again. So you can see there's a lot of cache refreshing in here, just to clear out all of the old information and have it reload properly. Accessibility doesn't seem to have changed. So we missed one in the footer. And quick trick for that is if you do see this, you can click on it and it will take you to that in the DOM. So it will be selected there. So highlighting that there, you can see that that's the element. It's just if you get stuck with finding them, if the DOM gets quite large. So you can just say studio logo. Cool, that's loaded. Let's go back to the Lighthouse, clear that out, analyze the page load. So it's kind of an iterative process, you go in here, find something, fix a few things, it's still doing it. A footer link, what's that? Playground, I have a hidden link there that does not have it. So you can see that it's, I'm just gonna remove that list. And publish that. Yeah, you can see it's pretty iterative process, and sometimes you need to go through it a couple of times in order to increase the scores. This, it doesn't really matter too much. These things, once accessibility is above 90, it's quite good. But this is more just for going through and showing you how to fix these things. Analyze the page load again. Have a sip of coffee while it does. Yeah, so now we're up to 98 best practices. And while we're there, we have a H3 instead of probably what should be a H2. So sometimes Webflow will tell you about this. Skipped heading level, H3, show me. Okay, make it a H2. That will fix that. While we're here, let's jump back over to the best practices. This seems to happen quite frequently. I haven't figured out a fix for this one. And SEO, documents don't have a meta description. So then if we come to here and we just say page title, page meta description. Well, let's just give it a thing. How to improve Lighthouse scores. And then tick these. And that's good. Now let's publish that. Come back to here. I think we're published. Yep. Cache refresh the page again. Analyze the page load. There we go. So that's looking pretty good now. We've got 100 SEO, 100 accessibility. Performance is 99, best practices 96. If anyone can figure out how to get that to 100, I would love to know. So what do we cover? Images, optimize them. Make sure that they're avif format, unless it's an OG image, because that is going to give you the best performance. If you have script tags, make sure that you defer them, because if they're not needed immediately, they will clog up the DOM and stop it from loading. Or I should say will clog up the sequence of loading events so that the DOM doesn't load. We removed the blur effect on here that was breaking the page scroll, even though that doesn't really come up in Lighthouse. That really has a huge effect on the scroll. Just to show you, I'll jump back in there and backdrop filter blur. And then blur. You can see it's jumping a bit there. So yeah, removing that will fix it. And other than that, I think, what else is there to mention? If you are running code only on one page, don't put it in the head of the whole document. So in the site settings, put it only in the head code of the page. Because if you're loading things on pages where it's not needed, it's just inefficient use of resources. One other thing that is sometimes nice to do just to feel like the site is faster is if you have a button, click on, especially for nav links, set it to prefetch. What this will do is when you hover over the button, it's going to prefetch the information that's on the next page, which will make it feel like it loads faster. Well, it actually will load it faster, but it will make the transition between the pages less noticeable. Yeah, that covers it. Last thing was the aria link. So any images that are within a link where there's no text, you will need to add aria label to it in order to improve the accessibility. And I think that just about covers it. So we've gone from essentially like this to much nicer Lighthouse score of, I think what was it, 98, 99, 100, 96 and 100. It's a bit of a long-winded video, but yeah, we've made some massive improvements. The site works better and everyone's happy. So I hope that helps, and all the best with that. If you have any questions or issues that come up, I'd love to know what they are. Love to figure out fixes for different things, and see you in the next video.